How's everyone doing? Welcome to the final episode of After the After Hours with your boy TraderPrad. The final day of this week is tomorrow going to be a free fall Friday. Now get ready for tomorrow. Powell going on the microphone. Powell going on the microphone again. Get ready for tomorrow. So I do have a watch list ready, but if you guys are ready, hit that like and subscribe. Hit that like and subscribe. Thank you guys for all the love. Thank you guys for all the support. Started. Why don't we dive into the full screen and hit that like and subscribe. Yo, what's up, chat? How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are doing great on this so very boring. Here, let's just go to the full screen because there's no camera today. I'm dressed like an absolute bum, so no webcam today. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm out of energy. I want to dress in absolute free clothing, and that's what I'm in right now. And I want to enjoy my relaxed night because I'm basically calling it for the week. The market today was so goddamn boring, and I'm just stretching over here talking about the market. This is the market today. It was so very boring. It bounced off the 5-day moving average, gave you a double top to get short on the 5-minute, just bar-coded, traded sideways. I mean, I guess it's to be expected. It is a short week. We got Thursday as Thanksgiving holiday. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Corey, I see you in the chat saying happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you too, my friend. Hopefully you're doing great. Love seeing you in the chat. But the market is so boring, so I think tomorrow, going to the rest of the week, I'm just gonna take it off, and I'm just gonna say, I'm not bothered too much to look for a trading opportunity. Really, I've already made my money that I needed to this week, technically, for this whole month in a way, basically. I could just come back next week and then bother what happens in December. So I'm just gonna let November come to an end and end it on a good note, as it was a good note yesterday. The market today, pretty boring. There were a couple opportunities across the board, but those also were too slow, too stagnant, as people weren't really there to push the market up higher. So overall it just felt like even if you were in a winner, that could have easily turned against you. So it was just not worth it today. But we have a couple stocks that are reporting today after hours, so I will go over that for you. We'll talk about some of the movers and maybe looking at some of the movers over here in the after hours, because a lot of them actually got sold off. I think all of them, the top 4 that we care about, or at least I care about, got sold off tomorrow. So maybe I find some trading opportunities that's going to get me excited to actually go in tomorrow. But if not, then I might just stay at home and just sleep in, get some snooze in me for December, and then go into December, smash the market on December. Okay, so Dell, CrowdStrike, Workday, Autodesk, HPQ, Urban Outfitters, 3D Systems, some of the names that report today after hours. We already have names that reported today, pre-market and after hours yesterday on the watch list, and a bunch of other names in relation to what's been going on recently: the AI sector, the banking sector, the AI banking sector, which is UPST. Then you have the drone sector. That's the right word. There you go. The drone sector. So lots of names on the watch list. Would love to head over and show you guys what is in store today. So let's start with top of the board. It's going to be Dell. Dell reporting earnings and getting absolutely slammed to the downside, sadly. Looks like a green report, but pushing to the downside on a green report is never a good thing. Let's go read this report and see what the idea is for Dell's move to the downside. Reported 2.15 per share, beating estimates of 2.05, 24.37 billion, missing estimates of 24.65. So not really too much of a miss, but miss overall. It's an increase of revenue of 22.25 billion from same period last year. So about 2 billion more made, roughly 2 billion more made this quarter compared to same period last year. Third quarter, what is this? Solutions Group, ISG, delivered third quarter revenue 11.4 billion, up 34% year over year. Servers and networks revenue up 58%, and demand growth across AI and traditional servers. Strong revenue was 4 billion, up 4%. Really? That's not strong. You're only up 4% on the whole AI and server side. Okay, whatever. I'll give it to you. Client Solutions Group delivered down 1% year over year. Commercial client revenue went up by 3%. Consumer revenue went down by 18%. Operating income for the segment was 694 million. We continue to build on our AI leadership momentum, delivering blah 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 blah. All right, any guidance? The company will hold a conference call and give guidance at the conference call. So I guess we missed out on the conference call because the report potentially did not add that in here. Yeah, it didn't come back and update. So we don't see the guidance, potentially even the guidance taking the stock to the downside. I guess, yeah, Benzinga saying they missed on revenue. You can see over here on TradingView also that they did miss on revenue. However, they did grow slightly year over year on revenue and on EPS. So growth good. We know that consumer sales in Dell has been hurt for quite some time. It hasn't really been a real thing for Dell and consumers, except for like their Alienware brand. Consumers really don't buy Dell products as much as I remember anymore. But in offices, there's still Dell towers, I believe, still Dell towers, HP monitors, LG monitors all across workplaces across USA, across Canada. So they still make a good chunk of money from there. And Dell, obviously, one of the key providers for the AI infrastructure and server infrastructure. So they make a good chunk of money from there too. But however, the market just did not like this stock today. They flushed it to the downside. Let's go to my other layout over here and go to the daily chart on Dell real quick. Go to the daily chart on Dell. Delete everything, please. So We are now, what, into 112 or something. Let's go back here real quick and throw in the anchored VWAP for earnings. Earnings anchored VWAP coming in around $130. We are around $125. So where does that come up to? 125, right around the 130 moving average on the daily, the purple. Right below that, we got the 200 and the 230. So we are basically going right into the 200-day moving average and the 250 moving average on a not so bad earnings report. So looking for a short below these areas, you really need to show me weakness below, let's say 120, 125. I think the stock was currently at 127, 125 area. So for me to look short tomorrow, I really need to see weakness below 125 for a potential move to 120, maybe a bigger move below 120 once we actually break below 120 and stay weaker below 120. So you know, I need to see the pre-market move, something going like this, and I'm expecting a move right back up. So you know, it's going to be hard for me to be bearish on Dell tomorrow. The report wasn't really that bad, and we're moving right into a lot of moving averages. So this is not open space. Open space opens up basically below 200-day moving average, which is exactly around $120. So if we break 120 and stay weak below 120, I think we gotta move to 250. And if the report was bearish enough, potentially a bigger move past 112, which is where the 250 moving average is, for an even bigger, deeper pullback on Dell, which I don't think is gonna play out that way. So I'm expecting buyers to come in and protect the stock over here, especially on a report like this, unless we're missing a bigger part of the story. If we are missing a bigger part of the story, then obviously the stock chart, the stock move is gonna tell me that it's gonna go weak below 125, it's gonna stay weak below 120, and if that's the case, I'll easily get short and enjoy the short ride. So pretty clear picture for me as to what I want to do. If it stays below 125 off the open, I'll look for the short for a possible move into 120, and then potential support at 120. But if we're opening up around 120, I needed to stay weak below 120 for me to be even interested to look for a short on the stock. So let me just kind of put that in my notes in case I forget tomorrow morning. You know what's crazy? I keep looking at the camera, but I know I'm not even pointing I'm not even looking, or the camera's not even on, but I keep looking at the camera like I'm talking to you guys with the camera. It's just so drilled into my what do you call it? It's just like secondhand nature now. It's just drilled into me. But no camera today. No camera. All right. Dell 125. Oh, come on, what the hell happened to my notes? Let me show you guys what I'm doing in my notes here. If stock can find selling under 125, look short for a move to 120. If stock is weak below 120, can look short, but expecting this to hold and give a long instead. The idea behind this is, you know, I'm a big Dell hater. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm a big Dell hater. That being said, I do have Alienware monitor. I have a Dell Alienware monitor. Let's go quickly take a look at what Dell's PE is. So 26 PE. Like I said, we're going back to 120 area. People will be looking to buy the stock. I'm not really thinking that, you know, this is a big short. 200 SMA is also near 120. We have that at a little bit higher, but that's just trading view. So you can see why, multiple reasons why 120 is just the natural expected area. Well, no, we do have a 120 also, yeah. So just naturally expected area for the stock to find support in. So watching to see if some buying, oh man, I'm gonna have to go into work tomorrow. I just looked at one stock and I'm already feeling like I have to go into work tomorrow. This is gonna be awesome. You know, maybe I just don't look at stocks for the rest of the day, and that way I don't get FOMO for you know, needing to go to work tomorrow. Earnings anchored VWAP at the moment at 130. Oh, sorry, the screen's earnings anchored VWAP currently at 130.75. So let's just say 131. And you have last week's low at 132. So anywhere from 131 to 132 can potentially give you a little bit of a resistance on a pop tomorrow. But if we're starting to stay above this area, you got a potential long back to the upside, which I think could set up. But I honestly, if you ask me, I think the stock is boxed in this area tomorrow because of lack of volume, because of lack of trading in the market today. Let's go to CrowdStrike. Ooh, big move to the downside on CrowdStrike. Let me start off with deleting all my lines first. Big move to the downside on CrowdStrike also after their earnings report. So you know what we're gonna do? Head over to Benzinga. But oh, I can't type for my life today. CrowdStrike. We got Buddha's in the house. What's up, Angry Buddha? How'd you do today, my guy? Hopefully you're killing it. Hopefully you're slaying it out there. CrowdStrike, what are we looking at? 1.01 billion, beating the estimates by of 982 million. Cybersecurity company reported adjusted earnings of 93 cents per share, beating estimates of 81 cents per share. Keep in mind, this is the company that recently had that whole problem with the whole world shutting down because of their update. You know, airplane companies having to go bankrupt, not bankrupt, sorry, but you're having to shut down and lose a lot of money because of their problem and so on. Microsoft's having to cause issues in hospitals and create a hot fix, all kinds of crazy wild situations going on thanks to CrowdStrike. All of that has been fixed very quickly, thankfully, but the company's still potentially facing lawsuits and litigation from all of that took place. But right now, just purely playing off the news that we have on hand, the stock is seeming to have a pretty decent earnings report. I mean, I'm seeing a 29% growth year over year. Annual recurring revenue is increasing by 27%, which is something that you would think not happen. You would think after the whole problem, maybe less people are using CrowdStrike than previously expected, but it looks like everything is going up. Net cash generated from operations was 326.1 million compared to 230 million. The company has 4.26 billion in cash, surpassed 4 billion in cash basically. Wait, is that average recurring revenue $4 billion in the quarter? That's pretty awesome. With over 97% gross retention, so they're still not losing customers as we or at least I should say as I previously thought should happen, but they're still retaining customers. All things looking good over here, but the market just did not like what CrowdStrike had to say, I guess. CrowdStrike provided an update to customers who were impacted by the global outage in July due to the defect in a CrowdStrike content update. The company said last quarter that it was extending commitment packages to impacted customers. CrowdStrike said Tuesday that it saw incredible success with customer packages as customers embrace the program and choose to deepen their relationships with the company. Sure thing, bud. Sure thing. CrowdStrike expects fourth quarter. You know, that being said, we actually haven't heard a lot about the litigations and the court cases. We haven't actually heard a lot about that. I do remember United Airlines suing them, or was it Delta Airlines suing them? But maybe they pulled the suit, they pulled the lawsuit, and they settled behind closed doors, and we never got to hear about it. Okay. Guidance revenue between 1.029 to 1.035 billion versus 1.03 billion estimate. Estimates fourth quarter adjusted earnings of 84 cents to 86 cents versus 86 cents per share estimate. So kind of in line revenue estimate and in line EPS estimate for the next quarter. Fiscal year 2025, they're expecting almost $4 billion, so 3.923 to 3.931 versus 3.897, expected 3.74 to 3.76 versus 3.63. So upbeat on the full year guidance, but kind of in line for the next quarter. They're growing by 24%. Was that 24%? Sorry, let me get it right. 29% year over year. They have a 97% retention rate. They have a lot of people, according to them, you know, happy and re-signing and deepening their relationships and accepting their accepting. Why do I feel like I'm saying that wrong? It feels like I'm saying that wrong. Anyways, a lot of companies potentially accepting the packages and deepening relationships according to them. More money coming in, more growth. They're guiding higher. So I'm not really sure as to why CrowdStrike took a beating over here, moving right back into last week's low of $336 area. Potentially seeing the stock easily bounce. You can see how, yeah, I can see this one bouncing again. Just another stock in the same basket, same idea as Dell tomorrow. Not a bad report. Potentially Dell could sell more than CrowdStrike if there is a selling event, because Dell actually only grew by like what, couple percent. Instead CrowdStrike is growing by double digit, right? Almost 30% growth coming to CrowdStrike over here. So looking for a potential dip buy opportunity, and looking long at maybe a capitulation long right off the open. Right off the open, we sell off into last month's high or something, and then we bounce off of that and set up for a beautiful long opportunity on CrowdStrike. So keep an eye on this one. I don't think the report was that bad, but then again, you know, I'm not an analyst. I'm a day trader. I'm not an analyst. I don't know what I don't know. Maybe some potential buyer is just taking profits at the moment. You see how the stock got destroyed off of all the things that happened in July. Then all of a sudden we're right back into previous prices. So maybe people are just taking profits. You know, it doesn't really have to be a short, but it doesn't really have to be a long either. So just maybe keep an eye on it, but don't force a trade on CrowdStrike. Just because the report was good doesn't mean you have to buy every single dip and look long only. You could look short too if there is weakness that comes into this position below last week's low right here. I think we got a nice move to the downside. The stock does have an ATR of $11, so potentially seeing $15 to $20 ATR tomorrow, and a nice opportunity to play with. So last week's low 336.75. I'm gonna say 336.75 to 337 areas, potentially a support zone. We can also head over here real quick. Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. And turn on one of the cool charts real quick. Turn on one of these cool charts. Let's go to CrowdStrike. These are daily. I can't have like a Alright, I guess not. I tried something for you guys. It didn't work out. CrowdStrike. So yeah, watching how watching how dips behave on this position. 350 looks like to be the earnings anchored VWAP. 351.26. Let's just say 350 to 351 area is the earnings anchored VWAP at the moment. You could see barriers coming in over here. You see right below, or sorry, right above 350. You got that little wiggle on the 5-minute chart where we broke down from. So there could be a seller in that area. There's a clear seller in this area right above the 355 356 price point. So there's some areas over here that could potentially find some shorts. If we clearly start holding above these areas, then I'm very much interested on a bigger long opportunity. I don't think that bigger long opportunity comes into play tomorrow. Potentially a long in the dip buy into these zones takes you right back into earnings anchored VWAP. I'm still not sure as to why the stock got smoked, absolutely destroyed. So personally, my bias is a little bullish, but you know, price action is king, and that is something that we're gonna potentially have to say about every single stock today. Jesus Christ, what did I just do? Thank you. That's potentially what we're going to have to do for every single stock today, because they all seem to have reported okay, but they all got destroyed today. Just absolutely got smoked. So another one of interest, Workday, WDAY. Let's quickly go take a look at their earnings report. WDAY, Workday. We're talking STONKS. 1.89 versus 1.76, 2.16 versus 2.13, increase from same period last year of 1.87. So looking good so far. Subscription revenue up 15.8%. The 12-month subscription revenue up 15.3%. Total subscription revenue backlog increasing by 20.3%. Operating cash flow down compared to same period last year. Free cash flow down from same period last year. Performance Q3 reflects in the trust of our customers placed in US across industries, global. Where's the outlook at? Revise the fiscal 2025 subscription revenue outlook lower from between 77. Okay, that's probably a reason why. Lower between 7.7 to 7.725 billion to 7.703. Wait, what? So previously was 7.7 to 7.725 to 7.703. So isn't that? Oh, okay, I'm stupid. Never mind. I got it. Yep, I got it. Still representing, however, a 17% growth. I mean, we're just playing with like a few million here or there now with the estimate. That can't be the reason why the stock dropped. Like, come on, right? That can't be the sole proprietary reason why the stock got absolutely smoked off of the earnings report. But that just seems to be the theme of today's earnings reporters. If you report well, we are shorting you, apparently was the theme. And if you played that theme, you made money going into some of these movers. But look, a lot of these stocks, let's quickly go back to what was the stock just earlier that we had on the watch list. That was CrowdStrike. You're going right back into the long-term moving averages. If we go into 310, 300, I'm so ready to look for a long on CrowdStrike. Workday, you're going right back into the 200, 250 moving averages. So very much potentially bouncing from these areas if people are looking to snag up these stocks for a cheap discount. You see, Workday for a $200 stock is only at a 47 PE. There might be some people who saying that's a good price for me. I'm gonna buy Workday at that discount because their report wasn't that bad at all. So you gotta be careful when you're pushing a short into moving averages. So Workday, same basket of Dell and CrowdStrike, potentially looking for some sort of a dip buy tomorrow off of this earnings report. Autodesk, let's go check out this one. I might just have to go into work tomorrow. We got a lot of these stocks that are overreacting off their earnings report, and we might just get a little good trade off of them. We might just get a good trade off of them. The expectation is ridiculous growth, or the market doesn't want it. The market just is nuts at the moment. I guess you could call it the rotation, right? They're rotating away from established companies, and they're going into stupid companies like BKKT, and they're going into DJT, you know, they're going into OKLO, and random low flow companies, growth companies, and so on. So I guess you could call it the rotation thanks to Trump. But small cap, it makes sense because last time Trump was in power, small cap was absolutely going off to the north side. So IWM potentially something to keep an eye on, as small cap has been going pretty wild recently. Coming back to, however, the stock that reported earnings today, ADSK, revenue up 11% year over year, looking good. 1.57 billion versus 1.56. This is the same. There's same shit. 2.17 versus 2.12, same shit. 11% year over year. Total billing increased 28%. Cash flow 209 million, while cash flow total 219 in the quarter. The company ended the period with 1.44 billion in cash and cash equivalents. Autodesk expects fourth quarter revenue to be in the range of 1.623 to 1.638 versus 1.621. Looking good. Okay, 2.1 to 2.16 versus 2.12. Looking good on that side too. 6.12 to 6.136 versus 6.11. 8.29, 8.35 versus 8.27. Now, keep in mind, this is a company that makes $8 a year. Okay, $8 per share a year, and makes $2 a share per quarter. So not a broke company, not a small company, one of the most industry's leading companies out there. ADSK, 65 PE, $300 stock. You would expect $300 stock, something like this potentially would have a PE. Where's Tesla at? What's Tesla's PE these days? 92. I thought Tesla would be a lot higher than that. Where's Nvidia's PE? Okay, 53. I thought Nvidia would be a little bit higher than that also, I'll be honest with you. But ADSK, 65 PE. They're getting a little bit of a drop to the downside, yes, thanks to the earnings report. But this is just prices for people to buy it up. Same idea as the last few stocks. Once again, this might be a little boring for some of you guys, but this is actually how people get trapped. They go, oh, big short move. Big sell-off move. I'm going to short this stock tomorrow on pops, and the stock just keeps popping higher and higher and higher and higher. So you might just get trapped very well tomorrow on the pops over here. For me right now, the stock has a pretty clean level to keep an eye on. It's a $297 last week low. So if Autodesk was able to get above 297 for now, I'm gonna put it in the resistance column. But if we're able to get above 297 and show me buying above 297, I think there's a no-brainer long on the stock. Potentially even you can use 300 all the way up to back to the north side. If we can reclaim 297 to 300 tomorrow on ADSK, I think there's a beautiful long opportunity. The report wasn't bad at all, but based on the current price action, you can see how 295 is where the earnings anchored VWAP is. So I'm gonna say 295 to 297 area. If the stock is struggling to get above that area, then you got a no-brainer potential short right back into today's VWAP. I'm expecting today's VWAP would be around 280. If we're around 290 to 300, potentially around 285, 290, giving you a good $10 short off of 300, off of 297 area on ADSK on the failure to get above this price point. So this area is very important right off the bat just from looking at it on the chart. But you can see that is just under that right there, just under the most recent swing low. So I like that level quite a bit. Will be interesting to see if we reject from that. If we do reject, then you got a good short. If we don't reject and hold back above here, I don't want to go to work tomorrow and actually the market's trapping me. I might actually have to. All right, HPQ. Let's just delete all the lines first. Throw in that one real quick. Throw in that one also. Please tell me you went down. All right, every single one. So looks like another one bites the dust. How about Urban? Oh, Urban actually went up. How about 3Ds? Triple D. Oh my god, I know 3D was a $2 stock. Okay, I'm just gonna delete, Alt Control delete this name from my watch list. Urban did not move Gap at all, but potentially will wake up Gap. The sleeping giant's potentially gonna wake up tomorrow and get back above 25. Oh, man, I need to stop looking at stocks. ANF, what are you doing? You pulled back quite drastically today too. I didn't really like that pullback on ANF today. Anyways, reporting today after hours, HPQ and Urban Outfitters, both of these stocks, one of them actually moved up, Urban Outfitters. HPQ moving to the downside. HPQ now under last week's low. Seems to be very much the same trend for most stocks that reported today after hours. As long as you don't reclaim last week's low, it's an easy short. You can see how some seller clearly has been propping the stock below that price point. This could be maybe a very easy trade. If it's under last week's low of 36.50, just same as Autodesk, you look for a short. If it's above 36.50, you look for a long. So short the pops if we're below 36.50, long the dips if we're above 36.50. Just a no-brainer long for me. I'm just gonna put it in my notes, under, over 36.50. All right, Urban making a nice little pop to the upside off of the report. Let's first delete drawings and then put in the earnings anchored VWAP. Come on, what am I doing here? Put in the earnings anchored VWAP, and then we'll see what type of opportunities are we getting. What is it? Into $43.47. I love the fact that we kind of broke out above all the key moving averages. So now potentially turning that into support on any sort of a pullback, and you're getting a bigger move to the north side. This could turn into a swing trade for a lot of people. This could turn into an investment for a lot of people. So watch how Urban Outfitters reacts on a dips back into these areas. I'm not expecting it to dip tomorrow into this area, but if we do, I think it's a very, very easy long. For now, the earnings anchored VWAP is at $42 and it says 33 cents. I'm just gonna say 42.50 to round it up. It's always a range anyways. It's not like a to the key price point. So watching how Urban Outfitters behaves around 42.50, and then under 42.50 we got yesterday's high at 41. I think 41 holds up on the dip. You can see how we did hold up on a dip to the downside. So easy long over here setting up, and also a bunch of moving averages in that very same area. So very, very easy long setting up over here. GAP, I think this one's a set of alert and wait for it. Volume's currently dying down drastically, but once GAP gets back above 25, I think you know, we're gonna have a lot of fun with this name. So keep an eye on GAP for a potential move above 25. The importance right now for this name tomorrow, potentially the lowest tier of importance. I'm gonna mark it at a blue marker for me. I think I marked it actually as a purple. Let me change that to a blue. So GAP at a blue marker in terms of how important this stock is for me tomorrow. ANF, look at that. We threw in that trend line yesterday while we were talking about the stock, and we were looking for the potential breakout of that roti slice pattern. Is Soze CL in the chat today? The roti slice, the pizza slice pattern, whatever you want to call it, right? We're gonna potentially get the breakout of that pattern in the next few days. Today, however, a big downside move after a gap up in the pre-market. No, sorry, we gapped down pre-market. At least we sold off in the pre-market, and then we ran up and got sold right back to the downside. So a little bit of a negative move, I guess you could say, on ANF. Not a little bit, a very negative move on here on ANF today. So breakout, not sure. You know, your guess is as good as mine. Let's see if the pattern, see if this can find that very same pattern. ANF on the daily chart. Really? So this finds a head and shoulder. Where's the left shoulder? Is this a fucking left shoulder? How is that the left shoulder? This is the most bullshit head and shoulders I've ever seen. Isn't the shoulder supposed to be equal length? That's the most bullshit head and shoulders I've ever seen. Okay, whatever. More power to you. Head and shoulders apparently, so if that's the case, we're gonna smack right to the downside. if you look at my chart over here, you could even look at this as somewhat of a bouncy ball pattern. But one thing that really stands out to me is how the stock sold off of this trend line, but then managed to bounce right off of the resistance, which is potentially now turning into a support. So watching how ANF sets up tomorrow, or even the rest of the week, you know, we could potentially break out to the upside over here and then keep going higher. But if we start going back into the lower end of these ranges, a breakdown of this area will be interesting. A dip buy into these areas will be interesting. So ANF, keep an eye on this going into the next few days. Best Buy, yuck. How that moved today, yuck, I don't care about it. ZM, so this one did exactly as I guess said it should yesterday. You know, not expecting it to find any buyers. It just continued to sell off in pre-market, bounced in the off the open, and then sold off the earnings anchored VWAP. But then just very, very choppy for the rest of the day. I think Zoom is just another name to keep an eye on for potentially shorts. You can short it over here around $86. You can look for today's high at 85, 86, 87. You got basically $3 to the upside that I think the stock will have a lot of trouble going through. So every single dollar that the stock is trying to break, I'm just gonna be ready looking for the shorts, and as soon as the pattern starts to turn around, I'm gonna be there ready to slam it. So watching Zoom for sure for a potential short opportunity over here. SMTC, this one actually managed to break out, but did so in pre-market off the earnings report, and then set up for a monster long off the dip buy. So big long, was that the earnings anchored VWAP? Technically it got a lot lower than the earnings anchored VWAP, but then got right back above and tried to stay above the earnings anchored VWAP for quite some time. So shout out to this stock. I think SMTC will be very interesting to see how it plays off around I'll say yesterday's VWAP, which is around $60. So if $60 holds on SMTC on any dip tomorrow, I think you are watching this stock go absolutely haywire again. You know, it's been going a little crazy all the way into resistance right before its earnings report. Reports well, breaks out, goes higher. So this stock, I think, deserves a high priority tomorrow. Xena, as I said, don't be surprised if the stock gaps up higher in the pre-market and opens up a lot closer into $20. We actually got very, very close to $20 in the pre-market, but we didn't really open around 20. However, you know, it seems to be trapping more shorts in this area. So if we don't get under today's low, which is what, $8, and stay below $8, I think the stock could very easily have a breakout and a launch to the north side, trap some shorts here, and have some sort of a crazy long opportunity. So watch the stock above today's high. It's basically the all-time high, which is today's high. If we start holding $11, you got a range, let's say 8 to 11, right? If we start rejecting into 11, I think there is no real long just yet. But if we start getting above 11 and getting through 12, there's a very, very big long to keep an eye on, in my opinion, that you don't want to miss out. So let me just quickly put in $11, $12.50, and then above that I'm gonna put $16.75 to 17 as the next range, because that is basically the after hour high that we made today on this mover. I also don't want to miss the day one anchored VWAP, because this stock that's day one, this day two, and we'll be interested to see if we continue to hold day one VWAP, which is exactly yesterday's VWAP. So if we continue holding day one VWAP, the stock could get wild. Guess who told you that there would be a short trade today on JOBY and ACHR? That's right, it's your boy Prad. Nice little inside day, short, rejected off the exact levels that we wanted it to, but I think this move is exactly what you want to see if you're looking for another potential breakout to the north side on the high flyer, pun intended, high flyer sector, the drone sector. So watching ACHR into $7.90 and up to $8. I almost said 80 for some reason, not sure why. So watching how ACHR sets up over there, you got JOBY into 850. So if we've got some FOMO buyers still coming in, even after what I would say is a heavily extended move on these stocks, you might just have a high flying move again coming into play on some of these movers. But if we start getting below, you know, what is this right here, 750, and start staying below 750 on JOBY, I think you might want to be careful looking for the long over there at that point. If we start staying below 750 on JOBY, there might not be a long. For Archer, I think the only level I want to make a read is around 790 to 8. You either pop here and give me a short to play off because you're not able to find buyers, or you pop here, you consolidate, and then you get ready for a breakout. So I only want interested to make a read in that area. Making a read in this area is a little bit more nuancy. You need a little bit more skill for that, so I'm gonna let my manager make that read for me. I'm not gonna make that read for me over here, so I'm gonna stay away from that one at that point. UAVS, another one in the same sector, but a bigger pullback. You know, UAVS, a lot less volume compared to the other ones too, so I'm just not that interested to really trade UAVS compared to, you know, Xena, Joby, Archer, and so on. RCAT, if you want to look for a potential short, sadly this one will be on SSR, but RCAT is something to keep an eye on. This is exactly previous levels that the stock is consolidating between. This is something that I've seen a lot. So either we can keep consolidating above this previous low of $7.75/$8, or we start breaking below that area and actually open up some downside on this position for a potential multi-day short setting up. So keep an eye on RCAP below 750, 775. I'm actually going to use 750 instead because that's exactly the previous day low here. That's around 750, 760. So I'll put in, what is that day's low? 760. So I'll put in 760 to 775 to keep an eye on RCAT. And then if we do hold up in this area, you got an easy move, I'd say, back into $9, especially if the sector is hot again. You know, there's some volume, the sector is hot, and there's some potential opportunity setting up for all of these trades. GM, the Chinaman. I shouldn't say Chinaman, but the man who usually goes after China with tariffs is now going against Canada. He's looking to post tariffs on Canada, and that is causing some Canadian stocks to go to the downside. I want to see if Canadian banks got slammed down today. Not really, but you know, GM getting slammed to the downside after a nice pop off of its earnings reports moves. You know, for the most recent earnings report, GM has been on a nice little rally, but off of the Trump coming in and talking about tariffs to China, to Canada, that brought down GM quite a bit. But if you see, we kind of flushed right back into a previous support area. So unless we really get below the support area, I'm not ready to look short. So GM could open up as a really easy long tomorrow by continuing to bounce off of, what is that, today's low / previous resistance / current support. So $54 to $55, I think it's a no-brainer long on GM. Their report was good, but if this tariff thing is a real problem, if this tariffs conversation is a real problem, and people are going to position themselves right now before that problem gets bigger, because obviously Trump is going to take the presidential seat. That's already declared. We already know that. So if that problem is going to get bigger, this stock could have a bigger unwind. And if you haven't gotten out already, you're basically trapped. So if we do see sellers coming in below 54, below 55 tomorrow, there is an awesome short. But if there is no sellers below 54, below 55, there is an awesome long. At least for the day trade. I don't know about the swing trade. I don't know about the investment. I'm talking about the day trade. That's it. MSTR. They fucking snuck in a short here. A monster short on MSTR today. I was short MSTR. My theory was, I told you guys my theory yesterday, right? My theory was if Bitcoin does not reclaim 95,000 overnight, there is a good short on MSTR coming up again. So they did not reclaim, Bitcoin did not reclaim 95,000 overnight, and MSTR tried to stay above 400. Tried to stay above 400, it did not. And my theory was so solid. I just did not hold the trade properly. I did not trade the trade properly. And I'm so very upset because I should have made so much more money today. Well, I should not have lost money today to begin with, but I should have made a lot of money today because I was long $6 and this stock basically went to $8. This is just shorting MSTR. Anytime you want to short MSTR, you can basically look long SMST, and that would basically be shorting MSTR. The range is 10 times. So if you trade MSTR with 10 shares, you want to go 10 times the shares on SMST just to kind of get the same variance on the trade. I think that's what at least a trader on my floor said it was 10 times, but it says 2 times short. It's 2 times leverage ETF short, but it is a 10 times relation in terms of the ATR and all the other mumbo jumbo math behind it. So SMST, keep an eye on this one for sure. MSTR, big slap down today. Reject off that 400, not able to stay above 400. Rejected today's low. Sorry, rejected yesterday's low. Rejected earnings anchored VWAP. That right there is the earnings anchored VWAP. You could have tried to catch the long off the earnings anchored VWAP, or you could have reshorted the earnings anchored VWAP breakdown and had another big ride to the downside on this name. So MSTR was, they snuck in a short here. I had the short. I made money on it. It's just, anytime MicroStrategy bounced and Bitcoin bounced, I kind of just said, fuck this, and I closed my position. I did not have the conviction and the chutzpah, the balls to hold the trade, and hopefully one day I grow those balls to hold the trade, because god damn it sucks to know that you have the right idea and have the gut feeling that you have the right idea, but it sucks to not execute it to the fullest of your potential. So fucking MicroStrategy, gotta watch this one. Potentially had a big day one today again. You could look at today as another day one, as we now broke down as a, that could also be look as a 3-bar play, but the 3rd bar is supposed to break out, I think, right? So not really. Anyways, MSTR moving down, going back into previous supports. If MSTR doesn't hold above 320 to 300 area, that's just even more doomsday for MicroStrategy. So watch out what happens on this name. We're heading into the next zone of support. 20-day moving average is at 323, 320 area. So very interested to see if the stock can find some buying into that price point. Under 320, it's a no-brainer. 300 to keep an eye on. Nice and even flat number, psychological number, always of interest. Seeing how the stock plays out. Today's VWAP, where is that? 365, 365. So if we do pop the 365 and reject, that's going to be an opportunity to this little pop high. 380. What's that pop high? 380, 350. I'm interested in that pop high area also. Pop high. What is yesterday's close? Because we kind of tried to bounce above yesterday's close. Not really. Earnings anchored VWAP is a little bit more interesting. So 370. So 365 to 370 will be potentially the area of interest. Oh yeah, that's where the today's VWAP and the earnings anchored VWAP comes in. So So that's a good under over right there. Very good under over right there. If we're under 370, sure. If we're above 370, potentially going back into 400 and then giving you a short from 400. So keep an eye on MicroStrategy tomorrow without a doubt. Looks like the juice from Coinbase has been drained out. Not many opportunities or even volume in Coinbase at the moment. The earnings anchored VWAP is flattening out. Potentially a move back to the earnings anchored VWAP very soon, and then a bigger breakdown short. So very much on watch for Coinbase. IBIT, obviously the same idea as Bitcoin. If Bitcoin sells off, you're looking for shorts on IBIT. SMCI, no real news move, but I guess it's just like, hey, you did not file your 10K yet, right? Yes, we get that you had some good news catalysts come out recently, but you did not file your 10K yet. So we can allow you to go up to $40, but we're not going to allow you to get above $40. By we, I'm saying the market. That's what the market is currently hinting at for SMCI. So SMCI potentially still struggling into the $40 barrier, but potentially still staying above $30 and ranging for the next few days until a bigger news catalyst comes out. So watching what happens over here. RKLB made a new all-time high today, but then no juice to continue keep on rallying above the new all-time high. So keep a watch on RKLB. No real solid levels, I will say, just because of how the back-to-back days have set up. You're just kind of looking at today's VWAP, yesterday's VWAP, consolidation levels, 5-minute chart patterns. You can throw in if you actually throw in 5-minute chart patterns on RKLB, you'll see a couple of very good patterns forming up. You got a short pattern, you got 2 short side patterns, and you got 1 long side pattern. The 2 being double top. The orange one's actually blocking it. The red is a double top, which is targeting the stock to go down to $231.81. You got a rectangle box pattern, which is targeting the stock to go into the exact same price point, or also targeting the stock to go up to $28, which is a new all-time high. So watching to see how RKLB sets up for a potential go back into one of our lines. I actually like the fact that the target for 2 of the patterns is the exact same as one of my support lines that I drew previously. I love seeing things like that. So very much in play on RKLB. IonQ tried to do something special today, didn't really manage to do anything, but like I said yesterday, as long as it stays above $29.50 to $30, I don't think there's a real short on this stock. But if we do get below $29.50, $30 on IonQ, oh my god, I have to go to work tomorrow. There's gonna be some really good trades, and I'm gonna regret not being in work by missing these trades. So I'm gonna have to fucking go into work tomorrow. I kind of told my boss already I wouldn't go in. Nope, I'm gonna have to go in. Screw it, I'll go in. Screw it, I'll go in. And if there's no trades, I just won't force anything, I just won't force anything, right, Prad? Yeah, for sure, Prad. Yeah. We'll believe that theory. We will believe that theory. QUBT, a bunch of other quantum computing names, QMCO, QUBT, all of these ones also on watch. RGTI. So I can't really give you levels and plays because these stocks are kind of just too wild for me to give you any of those kind of plays. Honestly, they'll potentially open much higher in pre-market or much lower in pre-market and just have a completely new level to play with. I would urge you to keep an eye on this those names that I just mentioned, but if you don't know how to trade small caps, just be a little careful. Snowflake, back-to-back days bottoming out into 171. That means if we break 170 to 171 on Snowflake, potentially moving back into 165 area. But if we don't break 170 to 171, another long potentially setting up. But right now, just by looking at the daily chart, I think Snowflake is opening up for a good short opportunity to go right back into the earnings VWAP, which is exactly 165. Surprise, surprise. Exactly 165. Affirm. A firm could start opening up the backside a little bit. If this is getting ready to open up the backside, you technically don't want to see a firm buying above 65.50, above 65. If a firm stays firm above 65, then potentially no short on a firm. But if it starts to show some weakness or finds a pop into 70 and shows you some weakness in the 70, that is also a good go sign on the short. I'm not looking long on a firm until we get above 70 and find buying above 70. So I'm only looking for a short at the moment on a firm. Let's go to Square. Square looking like it's getting ready to break down below that 89 area. So today we actually went into 88.50, but finally getting ready to break down below 89.50, 88.50. And if some real weakness can show up today, no liquidity in the market, no juice in the market, but I'm gonna give it that whole, I'm gonna look for pops. I'm going to look for pops to short into until the stock gets back above 90, basically. So you have the $90 resistance at the moment on Square, and I'm expecting the stock to go back into previous supports, which is right into what, $81. Not expecting it to happen in one day, but looking for it to happen over the next few days, unless we get back above 89.90, and then there is a easy long at that point. If you're getting back above 89, getting back above 90, then there is a easy long at that point. UPST, no volume today. No volume yesterday on the breakout either. A little bit of volume on the breakout yesterday, but not real volume. But I just like the daily chart. The daily chart looks really good for a dip buy into 75. So as long as we get dip buys into 75s, I think looking long doesn't hurt on UPST. AMBA says Barkey. Barkey wants us to take a look at AMBA. What is this stock? And another earnings name, AMBA, semiconductor name, reported earnings, potentially moving to the upside. Nice. Good job, Barkey. Barkey, you went from giving us not so good names to amazing names for the last few weeks, my friend. We love it. I love it. I thank you very much for putting this one on the watch. Umbrella, under my umbrella. Okay, I'll stop. AMBA, somehow, surprise, surprise, I was actually going to talk about NVIDIA, which is also a semiconductor name, but instead I chose to go with AMBA from the chat, which is a semiconductor name. So watching AMBA moving up to $88, $87.86. It was almost 87.87, but some dickhead had to say 87.86 instead of 87.87, huh? Anyways, 87.87 is where the stock landed into in the after hours. $88, let's say. $88 is also the previous top. Basically, the previous resistance high right here is 88. Oh, that's 89. Sorry, my bad. My bad. That is interesting right there. Gap down. Weak. Finally managed to break out. Earnings report comes out. We are going right back into the most recent swing high, because we never really kind of went back in this area and tested it until today's earnings report. We clearly broke past all the resistance areas over here. We just moved into this resistance area before breaking out off the earnings report. So all things looking good at the moment. If I was to, I can't, maybe, you know what, let's turn off all these lines really quickly. That way I can throw in one there. And let's turn off more really quickly. I want to throw in one. Let's throw in here. Okay, so I'm not expecting the stock to go back into $68, $70. Okay, I'm just marking them up for future reference for myself. But if we do go all the way back there for a gap close, I think there's an opportunity to look for a day trade long, especially with how big of a gap up we've had. AMBA let's go back into the 5-minute chart and see where the earnings anchored VWAP is. We are kind of just going back and forth from the earnings anchored VWAP, which is around $83. One thing that stands out right away is how the stock is managing to stay above $80 in the after hours. So pre-market, if we're above 80, no brainer long. If we're below 80, you might want to be careful. Yesterday's VWAP, which is basically today's VWAP, today's VWAP is around 73.20. You might be able to look for a long into 73.20, but I don't want to see the stock below 80 to begin with. If we're below 80, it's like, okay, what the fuck was this earnings after move, right? Where did this move come from? Where is this holding? What's going on, and all that other fun stuff. So AMBA, we're watching how this one's going on. Prad, you're going in for the free cake and the free beer. Anything else? There's no free cake, there's no free beer. There's just way too many opportunities over here on my watch list. The amount of purple I have on my watch list is actually pretty insane. Like, usually I have a lot more oranges and a lot more blues. The amount of purples I have on my watch list here is actually nuts, so I might actually have to go into work tomorrow. Hey Prad, can you check out Rivian, please? Yeah, for sure. Let me just finish AMBA here, because this is actually an interesting stock. So as long as we hold above 80, I'm interested. I do like the fact that we bounced off of 80 and got back above the earnings anchored VWAP. So anything above 83, anything above 85, I'm gonna say 85 is the resistance right now. Above 85, we have the 89 resistance. So as long as we get above 85, easy long on AMBA. What is the stock's other stats that I'm gonna need very quickly? AMBA, umbrella. What's your PE? What's your share flow? You don't make money. What's your share flow? Your share float is 38 million. Your short float is 3.4 million. You're a 2.8 billion market cap. So just around the small cap tier / not anymore small cap, I guess, just because you're above the 2 billion technical number, but I'd say still a small cap. What's your number looking at? You reported positive, so maybe just starting to turn the corner from not making money to making money. All right, look at that. Negative, 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 and finally a positive number on the earnings report. Oh, that's a positive there. That's a positive. That's a positive. That's a negative. That's a negative. That's a negative. Anyways, finally turning into a positive once again, I guess, and hopefully starting to make money. And we'll see what happens. So Umbrella getting a good boost off the earnings report. Currently, I think 85 to 89 is a little bit of a potential barrier, but I think the 85 barrier should be very easily reclaimed on AMBA. Bradley Beal. I haven't heard anyone call me Bradley Beal for almost 3 years now. 2 years now. That's insane. Wow. That's insane. I haven't heard people. I'm losing my brain right now. I haven't heard somebody say that in so long. Bradley Beal. All right, let's talk about Rivian. I think Rivian is a pretty straightforward long above 1150, but if we start seeing back under 1150, back under $11 on Rivian, you might want to be careful for the long. I've seen the stock go back and forth very, very easily. You can call this pattern right here the daily chart the daily chart bouncy ball pattern. So we kind of broke down, we popped up, we rejected. There could be sellers in this area still, there's buyers in this area very clearly. So right now is just trying to price discover in this zone, and your guess is as good as mine as to what happens in this zone. So I'm not really interested to do anything in this zone. I don't care what happens in this zone. What I do care is what happens at the previous resistance. Is that turning into support? I'll care about what happens at the previous support. Is that still support, or will that turn into resistance by getting down under? And once again, what happens at previous support? Does that turn into resistance? And the answer is yes, and the answer could be yes again. But the more time you test a certain level, the better the breakout of that area. But right now, we've only really tested that area once after getting below. So I think I'm going to continue watching Rivian for shorts into $13 if we do get there, and longs into $11. But anything in between is just noise. I just don't care about that noise at all on on that stock. Nvidia tried to have a big sell-off day today, but it bounced right off the 50-day moving average and then didn't really flush too much to the downside. It went a little bit lower than yesterday's low. Yesterday's low was 135.82. Today's low 135.67. So it went a little bit below 135, 136, but didn't really do it. So it looks like there's some sort of a buying action into this 135.50 to 136 area, which is the 2-day low at the moment. But if we get the 3-day breakout tomorrow below this pocket, I think Nvidia could be something to keep an eye on for sure. Tesla 350 is just no go anymore, right? 350, we broke out of it, but then right instantly we're getting rejected off of 350. I can't remember what this anchored VWAP was. What happened on Thursday, November 14th for me to throw that anchored VWAP? And that was like a midday anchored VWAP? That one's getting deleted. I think I deleted the wrong one. Oh, I did. I did delete the wrong one. Thursday, 11 o'clock. I think I was just tracking the seller from this area so I could short on the pops. I think that's all I was doing. So I'm deleting this one. Well, yeah, we're getting rid of that one. I only want the earnings anchor VWAP. Get that garbage out of here. However, it was showing you a good support, right? It was showing you good support. Keeping an eye on Tesla over here. We're currently seeming to hold really well above the 9-day moving average, but getting below that, we have the whatever this one is. This is the election day, so looking for a move down to the election day anchored VWAP. A 3-day bottom almost into 335.50 on Tesla. So getting below that, I think, is an easy short on Tesla. You know, kind of the same idea as Nvidia, watching to see if shorts open up. Apple making a run up to the north side, all-time high incoming. So watching how Apple sets up into the all-time high zone without a doubt. How the tides have tables have turned tables, right? So watching how Apple went from being the largest company to the second largest company, back to the largest company, and now getting ready to break out of all-time highs. So let's see if it actually manages to do so. Amazon back above 200 and actually back into 207. Okay, Amazon, I see you. Shout out to Amazon. Microsoft bounced off of its 200-day moving average. Microsoft bounced off of its 200-day moving average and had an insane rally today, but basically back into the box, back into the zone. As I keep telling you guys that, you know, stocks such as Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Meta, people buy companies like these into the 200-day moving averages because history has shown them that, you know, these are good prices. It's very rare that stocks like these actually spend below the big moving averages, especially when we're in a bull market like currently, and when Trump enters into the hot seat. I think even bigger of a bull market is about to kickstart. So we'll see what happens in Microsoft. Today, big bounce off the 200-day moving average on MSFT. I think Meta did the same thing, but yesterday, Meta bounced off the 200-day moving average yesterday, and then today it kind of was up. Did not bounce off the 200-day moving average. My 200-day moving average is much lower on Meta. Never mind. But Meta, you know, also having a good rally back to the upside. So that is your large cap sector on watch, and that basically is all things interesting for tomorrow. Let's go take a look at IPO calendar. If anything is interesting, nothing should IPO because it's a holiday. Looks like we got a stupid acquisition company, a SPAC merger that was supposed to IPO today. Don't care. And no other companies that we care about. That's good. Let's go take a look at the econ calendar. What in the world is this economic calendar? What the frick, dude? Why is it so busy? Okay, so we got, let's filter for 3 stars. For 3 stars, we got durable goods at 8:30, GDP at 8:30, jobless claims at 8:30, Chicago PMI at 9:45, core PCE at 10 o'clock, core PCE year over year and month on month at 10 o'clock, and then crude oil inventories at 10:30. Now let's go take a look at the 2-star events. I'm going to ignore the 1-star events. Usually they don't ever matter. 2-star events, we got continuous jobless claims, core PCE. That's basically part of the same thing that we talked about earlier. Retail numbers, PCE, 7-year auction. That's what I was looking for because I remember seeing that as the whole big, long scan that we just saw. So 7-year auction, no, that one's gonna be important. This is why I think I have to go in tomorrow. I don't want to miss out an opportunity where the market might have some good volatility, especially, you know, when news comes out and not a lot of people are actually there to trade it. So the lack of liquidity with a news catalyst / economic catalyst coming out could just open up some volatility and make some moves spicy to trade. You're already seeing that happen on the earnings board today. Dell, ADSK, CRWD, Workday, all of them getting smoked even though they reported decently well, at least in my opinion. Marco wants me to take a look at Alibaba. The China sector, man, you want to be careful with the China sector. You know, it doesn't matter if they reported well or not. The China sector is just a scary sector no matter how you look at it. Scary for the reason because Trump is, I hope tomorrow is flat. I hope you get a flat tire tomorrow, TH, and that way you don't get any work done, okay? I hope you get a flat tire tomorrow. What time do the bars open in Canada? I don't know, 11 p.m.? 12 p.m.? 12 p.m. to 2 a.m.? I don't know. I don't go to the bars. I don't go to bars. Take half a day or don't trade at all. Yeah, it's gonna depend. I might just leave early if there's no opportunities, you know. But if there are opportunities, I might just go a little crackhead mode. Yeah, I might go a little crackhead mode tomorrow. So I actually like the earnings and the movers today. I like the setups today, so I'm pretty interested to see what opportunity set up tomorrow. So I'll actually make an effort to get up and go in tomorrow. Market too damn risky Wednesday. But obviously today is the last stream. Not going to stream tomorrow. Not going to stream Thursday. Not going to stream Friday. Not going to stream Saturday. Not going to stream Sunday. So I will see you guys Monday, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you guys Monday. Have a great long weekend. If you are enjoying the long weekend. If you're not enjoying the long weekend and you're trading on Friday because you're addicted to the market, then, you know, I understand. But try not to lose too much money because there will not be a lot of volume. So on that note, I wish you guys the best. TraderPrad heading out. It is time to go play with my doggo and call it a night so I can get to work early in the morning. Good night, fellas. Catch you next time. Peace. The watch list for tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm gonna bring in my big screen over here. Back to another brand new week of After the After Hours with your host TraderPrad. I'm doing great. Hopefully you guys are joining me on that great side. Markets are moving around. Might just be a risk on type of day. So let's see what happens. 8 o'clock tomorrow. As you guys know, we do the stream Monday to Thursday, 8 p.m. Shout out to my affiliate sponsors, Benzinga, Trade Ideas, the #1 scanner to go to, Trader Sync, promo code down below, promo code PRAD15 to get 15% off. I will catch you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock, same time, same place. Until then, TraderPrad out. Adios.